Hello, everyone. You are about to hear a brief retelling of the movie The Dangerous Role of Jean Seberg. The film is based on true events. In 1956, Jean Seberg was chosen out of 18,000 applicants for the role of Joan of Arc. 3 years later, she starred in On Her Last Breath, which brought her worldwide fame. Paris in 1968. Jean is in an open marriage to director Roman Guri. That is, they can sleep with whoever they want, even though they are already raising a 5-year-old son. The actress left her family and went to Los Angeles. In the United States, meanwhile, the Black Panthers organization is gaining popularity. Radicals advocate armed resistance to racism, so the police and the FBI are closely monitoring the activities of the organization. Jack Solomon is an employee of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. His boss brings him up to speed. They are following an activist who recently called himself Hakim Jamal as a former drug addict and psychopath. But he has recovered, converted to Islam, and now gathers radical black men around him who oppose the government. Jack is a master of the wiretap. That's what he has to do. When Jean and her agent were flying on a plane, she heard some noise. The same Hakim Jamal is outraged that Malcolm X's widow was not allowed into first class. The famous black leader murdered 3 years earlier. Jean liked the young man and offered to give the widow her seat. At the airport, the woman is met by a squad of Black Panthers. Jamal is already being watched by Solomon and his partner Kowalski. Though he keeps his distance from the Panthers, he knows how to shake down sympathy money. Suddenly Jean walked up to the Panthers and also raised her hand up in solidarity with them. This footage instantly made the pages of the newspapers. Why is she doing this? Maybe she has a weakness for frying meat on the corners. The agent asks Jean to think what she's doing and not to flirt with the press. Jamal left Jean his address on a stack of script sheets, and after thinking for a while, she went to him. Solomon and Kowalski bugged Jamal's house sitting in a van with tinted windows. An agent took a picture of the actress when she arrived late at night at their stakeout site. Jamal immediately escorted the praying brothers out. He is surprised that a white celebrity dared to come to the area in her luxury car. Jean states that she wants to be part of the Black Revolution and help fight racism. She also believes that Jamal arranged the concert on the plane just to get her attention. Within minutes, they were already in bed. Solomon was surprised by this development. The next day their moaning was also heard by the chief. The law does not forbid relations outside of marriage, even such eccentric ones. Except that Seberg also offered Jamal money, and sponsoring such people makes her a danger to America. And so the famous actress found herself under the FBI's radar. Agents are looking into her background. During the filming of Joan of Arc, she almost burned alive and received severe burns. Her picture ended up on the wall next to pictures of dark-skinned revolutionaries. Jamal spends a lot of time at the Beverly Hills mansion. Solomon, on the other hand, does not have the opportunity to pay attention to his wife, Lynette, because of his work. The couple has fun, and John shows Jamal how good she is as an actress. The lovers leave the mansion in different cars, hoping that they can hide their relationship. Solomon breaks into the Seberg house. Having dealt with the formidable security guard, he proceeded to investigate the dwelling and plant bugs. He discovered that the actress was donating money to the Malcolm X Foundation. The agent had to leave the house urgently when the maid arrived. Seberg stopped by the school for black children where Jamal's wife Dorothy works. She suggested that the actress bring her son there as well. They also need people like Jean to attract the public's attention. Dorothy mentions that actresses must make good money, and Jean immediately wrote a check for the school for $5,000. Solomon continues to observe and watch Seberg's films. He looks at her far more often than he looks at his wife. Jean tells a reporter that he reads a script about love between a black man and a white woman. But he's not sure people are willing to watch a movie about an interracial relationship. The agent reminds her that she's already signed up for another movie, and such stories scare viewers and they don't want to see them. Jean hosted a fundraiser at her home. Her husband Roman was also present. The actress listened to every word during her lover's speech. Black Panther head Bobby Sills also came to the meeting. Roman also shows Jamal respect, not realizing what he is doing to his wife. The couple are even willing to give money to the Panthers for weapons as well. Suddenly the signal is gone, and Solomon has to impersonate a waiter to get to the party. Jamal took his mistress aside and asked her to settle down. You shouldn't give money to Black Panthers. It could get her in trouble with the public and the government. The actress threw some words to the waiter who had just recorded their conversation. The FBI intends to expose the connection between the white actress and Jamal. Then he will become a pariah to the Black Panthers. Bureau Director Edgar Hoover considers Seberg a danger to the country and no one will cover for her anymore. Solomon, upset because she wasn't the target of their surveillance. I don't want my daughters reading in magazines that it is now fashionable to hang out with revolutionaries of color. Soon Dorothy received a phone call and heard a recording of her husband and a new acquaintance moaning. But now we understand why the famous actress gave her expensive jewelry and her husband signed checks. It was an interesting way to help black kids, complete with leg spreading. Dorothy is advised not to try. She's a stranger to them anyway. And she doesn't want to see her again. Solomon and his wife came to visit a colleague. Kowalski ordered an erotic cartoon of Seberg and Jamal. Soon there will be flyers like this all over the place. Kowalski's son has left home and lives in a hippie commune. And her daughter is trying her best to emulate the famous actress Jean Seberg. The domestic tyrant yells at his wife and daughter and makes fun of the girl's appearance. Naughty flyers have been scattered at Dorothy's school. Jamal suspects that the Panthers did this. They must have somehow sniffed out that he slept with a white woman and are now taking revenge on him for it. At this point he broke off his relationship with his mistress. They could no longer see each other. And at the same time he advised them to check their phones. Their affairs in bed were recorded on tape. And then a rock came through the actress's window. Angry Dorothy fires a gun into the air. She wants all the neighbors to know that Jean is sleeping with a black man and has scattered flyers. Solomon doesn't like that he is bullying a young woman, and Roman is willing to forgive his wife anything. The only thing he worries about is the safety of their son. But Jean assures him that she won't back down, saying that she's doing a very important thing. It's much more important than her career. Roman wanted to fly to Paris, but Jean asked to stay with her at least until the premiere of the film. The girl searches the house looking for bugs. Someone calls and immediately hangs up. An FBI agent follows Jean on her heels. In New York, they check into the hotel room next door to her. The partner isn't happy that the bug wasn't planted in the bedroom. They need the squeak of springs. If she's going to have any more fun. But only her husband came with her. Jean complains to Roman that their phones are tapped. She keeps hearing strange clicks. There was also a van parked outside their house the whole time. Seberg thinks the FBI is watching her because she's funding the Panthers. You don't believe me? I didn't say a word. Before going to Jean's movie premiere, I put duct tape on all the doors to track down if anyone broke into the room. It didn't take long for that to happen. Solomon placed the bug under the bed, and his partner started jumping on the dog and he kicked it hard with his foot. Suddenly the couple returned home. Solomon hid behind the shower curtain, and Jean almost ran into him. But then her husband called out to her. Their dog was lying dead on the floor, and also the scotch had peeled off the doors. They came in and killed her dog. In his hotel room, Solomon pounced on the killer's agent. The surveillance continues in the restaurant. Seberg senses this and looks around. She suspects that her agent's wife has a hidden wire in her purse. Jean was called to the telephone. On the other end of the phone was Solomon, who took pity on the actress and warned her to stop giving money to the Black Panthers, or they would come after her and take everything away. But Jean told the agent to go to hell. At home Solomon had a distraught wife waiting. She found and laid out the pictures of Seberg on the table. The girl thought her husband was having an affair or doing something worse. In the evening, Solomon took Lynette to the yard, suspecting that he might also be bugged, and told her how the FBI was putting pressure on Jean Seberg. He doesn't like it, but he can't do anything about it either. Lynette suggests that he quit, or at least ask for another case so he doesn't have to take part in the harassment. On the set of the next film, Seberg continues to be paranoid. She thinks there is an intruder on the set watching her. Jean met Jamal at an already abandoned black school. The actress confessed that she is pregnant again. Do you know who the father is? One charming young Mexican man. Jean kissed her former lover's hand and their paths diverged again. Kowalski suggests that the newspapers publish information about the actress' pregnancy with black activist Hakim Jamal. This compromising information would help discredit her in the eyes of the public. Solomon bursts into his boss's office. He is outraged by the outright lie. After all, the child is from a Mexican. Except this is an order from above to smear Seberg in the eyes of the fans. So the boss tells Solomon to go to hell. Now newspapermen do not leave the actress alone, even in Paris. Jean honestly admits to her husband that the baby is not Jamal's. Who then is the father? Not the one they're talking about. Well, if not the one, then we'll sue them, Roman suggested. Jean is wobbling. She disassembles the appliances and searches every little thing in the apartment looking for a microphone. The article in the yellow press made an impression on Dorothy as well. Jean decides she's had enough and pops pills. This was also written about in the newspapers. The actress held a large press conference. She revealed that her newborn daughter only lived for 2 days after her action, and she doesn't blame anyone but herself for that. But the baby didn't deserve the lies around her name, so Jean is suing the newspaper for a defamatory article. She has been targeted by the FBI and the state for her ideals. The woman hopes that justice will someday be served. In 1971, Solomon met with Seberg in Paris. He recalled their telephone conversation 2 years earlier. He had then broken into her hotel room. Solomon brought out a thick file folder. The FBI has thousands of hours of recordings of her conversations, hundreds of photos. Because of her association with black associates, Jean Seberg must be neutralized. That's what the file says. Solomon won't give her daughter's life back. But he wants her to at least know the truth. Jean asked the agent to leave. Jean Seberg remained living in Paris and never starred in Hollywood again. She continued to remit money to the Black Panther Party. She was last seen alive on August 29, 1979. 10 days later, her body was found in a car with a suicide note in her hand. She was only 40 years old. Her ex-husband Roman Gary did the same thing a year later. Hakim Jamal was killed by other black radicals back in 1973. That will be all, gentlemen. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment and like it. See you soon.